So I was coming home today and I had this conversation with a client that I thought was interesting and worth talking about here. So my client was talking about how she was tired, right? Like, I'm tired from all of the work that she's done just to get out of her crappy situation. You know, like, if we're leaving a bad relationship or we're leaving a tough situation, like, it takes a lot of work, right? Like, it takes a considerable amount of work and organization and figuring things out to get out of that situation. You know, she was talking about it like digging herself, climbing out of the hole. And that's how I remember it too, right? It was like climbing out of this hole, and it takes so much effort, but it's worth it because, you know, you have to get away from the pain. And, you know, sometimes that takes some anger. It takes what it takes so that you get out. And, you know, we were talking, and I was really glad that she brought this up because it gave us a chance to explore it and for me to bring in some insight for her for what to expect. So she did all this work, climbed out of the hole. You know, she didn't create, but she wasn't going to get out of it unless she figured it out. So she's climbing out of this hole using so much effort, pushing away from the pain, right? So basically it's like, okay, she's here now. Like, if here's like ground level, and she's looking at what she wants to create in her life now, as in like climbing the ladder. And, you know, that takes work too, right? Not done using so much effort. And basically she was like, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. When I think about now facing anxiety in order to do this next thing, I'm exhausted. And I was so glad that she was able to be honest and vulnerable and share that, because here's the thing. There is something different that happens when we start using energy and effort and to climb into what's next for us. It's a different experience than when we're climbing out of the pit and out of the hole to get away from the pain and the suffering. When we're pushing away from the pain and the suffering, it takes gigantic amount of effort, and we push, and we climb till we get here. And once we're here, we feel better. But that's not what happens when we are climbing into the next version of ourselves. So she's got a goal for herself, and we're looking at, all right, what are the steps to get you there? And in order to do that, she's got to face anxiety. The thing that she doesn't know yet, though, because she's never done this before, climb into her next self, that is that, let's say the goal is to have enough of an income where she could then save up and buy her own house, right? So the first thing is to find the right job. And while she is on that path, as she clicks into getting into the job, she's not going to have enough money to buy a house yet. However, she is then going to have a sense within her of stability, of freedom that opens up. She will be able to breathe easier. She will have more peace of mind before she achieves her goal. Just being on the rungs of ladder toward her goal, working toward it, will open up the freedom for her, and then will motivate her to keep going all the way. Each rung in that direction opens up a greater sense of freedom, which is what she's moving into, and motivation. And I did not know that when I was doing this journey myself. I remember being exhausted climbing out of the pit. And then I would push a little bit more, going toward what I want. And I was like, oh, this is actually a different experience. I actually am motivated just by taking a step forward, because it increases the sense of freedom within myself, peace within myself. And then that is the motivation to keep moving forward. So the motivation moving forward is increased freedom in this situation versus pushing away from pain. And I just think that might be helpful for people that are on the journey. I just want to encourage anybody who has been on this journey, because God knows it can be a lot. And there's a lot of times when I remember wondering, like, I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. But there would be something inside me that was either, you deserve more. There has to be more here in this life for you. So I would keep climbing out. And then once I got out of the hole and was stable, I was like, okay, what am I reaching toward now? Every step of the way, there's been an increased sense within myself of resiliency as I've moved toward it. And I just wanted to share that today for anybody out there who needs a little encouragement on the journey, that you are going to get that internal encouragement and motivation. Just keep moving forward. And I know that there is a way for you to reach all of your goals.